Right up there.
No matter what.
Evening, everyone. Thanks for being patient through our delay. We are good to go now. The workshop meeting, Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. First is announcements, which I left on my printer. Let's see, October 4th is no, I can do it with my head. October 4th is a hazardous waste collection day at the Canopus Beach area, the parking lot area. You do have to register in advance. If you go to the Putnam County Health Department website, you can see what they'll take and what they won't, and you do have to register in advance for your items to be accepted. And the other was October 25th, which is going to be bulk pickup day. I don't think we've gotten details more specific details from Royal and Casella yet. They usually send us a list, just a reminder list of what to take
on the website.
We've announced the date. But as the more information comes. Halloween is coming up on the 25th. Great. Yep. We approved it. Good. Okay. Yeah, Halloween parade is the 25th, starting lining up or gathering at St. Mary's Lawn at 4:30. Thank you, St. Mary's, and then step off at 5. Opportunity to add or modify agenda. After all that, I would like to request one change, and that is to move what is currently 5C2 related to winter parking regulations down into the discussion chapter 126. Anyone opposed to that? Anybody else have any changes? No. Okay. Next, the worst kind of announcement. We are at 68.53% capacity overall in our 5 impoundments. We have not had enough rain in a long time. The water and wastewater superintendent has recommended that we enter into a stage 1 water emergency. Just to give you a sense of how fast levels are dropping, on Friday, it was 73.25%, and as of this afternoon, it's 68.53. So in a stage 1 water emergency, a few things happen. All village water system users, and that is us, most of the village of Nelsonville, and a few properties in the town of Phillipstown, should identify and stop all leaks. If you see something on the street that you think is a leak, or if you hear something that you think is a leak, please be in contact with the village clerk so we can get crews there to address it. But also be watching in your own houses, your own sinks and toilets, etc. No vehicle washing, no building exterior washing or other outside area washing. No village water can be used for ornamental features. Watering of lawns and landscape features are limited to the hours of 7 to 8 a.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Please irrigate vegetables or fruits for human consumption from handheld containers only, and retain from refilling swimming pools or hot tubs, etc. For the hotels, bed and breakfast and short-term rentals, please wash linens only upon request. Failure to comply can result in a summons and a violation. And this can be enforced either by the water superintendent, the code enforcement officer, or the Cold Spring Police Department. So I guess I will ask the board for your blessing to sign this proclamation and enter it into the public record.
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the proclamation declaring a stage 1 water emergency.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, we'll get that out on the website, and we need to advertise in the paper as well. Next, we're doing things in a slightly shifted order this evening because we need to have a discussion in order to have a later discussion. So I would like to propose to enter an executive session to discuss the employment history of particular individuals. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
So we can text out. I don't have contact for you, Rick, but you can, this is the editor from the PCNR. You can contact the village clerk by email, so we can let you know when we're back in session. And Mike, Alex is here. We can let you know. BCS clerk at coldspringny.gov. And Mike will let you know when we're back into.
Okay, good.
It might not be anybody.
Thought I saw Kyle's current there. Oh, yeah, and Michael there.
Okay. good.
Okay, so it is 7:36. I made a motion to exit executive session at 7:34. And trustee Frymark seconded. We all voted unanimously to come out of executive session. And we will discuss items under a later agenda item. Okay, water fund request. So the simplest explanation of this that I can provide is that we have an extremely old laptop and software from 2010 that can no longer, the upgrade path is at a dead stop. There's no upgrade path. This is something we budgeted for. We knew it was coming. The system, the Rockwell system and the SCADA, the hardware and the software work together to control the chemical balance at the water plant. And it allows for remote control, so there can be timely reaction on chemical adjustments. So we are being asked to approve two things: the Aqualogics data PC package with associated software licenses, and a second license required from Rockwell. Discussion?
I had some questions for Matt, which he responded to, and I have no objections with the request.
You asked about lifespan. Right.
Yeah, that's right. Amongst other things, the existing one I think was 10 to 12 years, Matt said, and then beyond that, for the current one, maybe another 10 to 12 years before the platform which it runs on can't keep up with it anymore.
Any further discussion? Would someone like to make a motion regarding the Aqualogics SCADA PC package?
I make a motion to approve the Aqualogics SCADA PC package with associated software licenses.
At a cost of
Where
$24,780.
is it?
$24,780.
At a cost of, oh, I see, $24,782.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then would someone like to make a motion related to Rockwell?
Go
A
ahead.
motion to approve Rockwell Automation's purchase of contract reinstatement fee at the cost of $2,683.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That will get Matt through another bit of time. The next one is an authorization to for me to sign the NYSERDA contract, the change in statement of work. Allowing us to substitute in the EV charging station on High Street.
I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the NYSERDA contract modification.
Sorry, what?
Modification number 1 to agreement number 223588. Is that what you wanted me to add?
That's great. I do have.
Okay.
Second? Someone going to second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to the first winter parking item, Haldane, under the new superintendent, they are organizing and cleaning up process, and the village has informally used the lot by the softball field for winter parking for years. Haldane has asked for an IMA for that use. This has been reviewed by the village attorney. It's been reviewed and approved by the school board. Basically says that villagers have the right to use it during snow emergencies. And that co-indemnify the other. Any discussion?
I had one question which I noticed was the one for the village winter parking recommendations. That was from, I think, November 15th through April 15th, and this one runs longer than that.
This
I-
is a
I-
5-year,
Right.
this is a 5-year term.
The
Is
actual term, but the period for which we would have the winter use is a longer period than the village parking guidelines, right?
Well, the period of the contract is for 5 years, but we, the village board, as we will talk about later tonight, we set the period for winter parking.
Right.
It has
Right.
traditionally has been November 15th to April 15th.
Yeah, but I thought I saw in this agreement that it was a longer period of time.
From September 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, and that same period through each subsequent year for 4 additional years.
Right. So we have extra coverage. We have extra beyond the period of time that we outlined for the village. We have extra use of that.
And one of the ways
That
that
area.
one of the ways that that can be helpful.
Yeah.
Is flooding or other things
Right.
that happen outside of the November 15th to June,
Right.
April 15th.
That's
Yeah.
on the north side of the village, so it might get more snow.
That's true.
Because it does say for other emergencies. Yeah, I just noticed that.
Thank you for your detail. Any further discussion? Someone like to authorize signature? Make a motion to authorize.
Make a
signature.
motion to authorize the mayor to sign the intra-municipal agreement with Haldane concerning winter parking.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we're gonna move the winter parking discussion down a bit. Next is Clearwater docking for educational purposes. Sorry, I didn't think to put this on the schedule as I did before. They have asked for a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in early November, days that are not C Street days. They would depart early in the morning on Saturday, November 8th, before the C Streak arrives around 11. And they're wanting to do educational sales again. Any discussion? Anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the docking application for C Street and waive our normal fee for November 6th, 7th, and 8th.
No, C Street.
Oh, sorry, for Clearwater.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Someone like to second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You. Okay, next item is accepting the resignation and retirement of our court clerk, Kathy Costello, effective December 1st, 2025. We are deeply grateful to Kathy for her years of service, and we'll enjoy our final weeks with her and wish her well. We will be posting this position as open and accepting applications for interview. So we'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation for the purpose of retirement. Yeah, second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything? Okay, next is code revisions. I will make a motion to table the discussion of a potential new chapter 125, pending consultation with the New York State Advisory Board on courts.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. 126. This is vehicles and traffic. There were a few cleanup items that we needed. The primary hits here are allowing for EV chargers to be EV charger stations to be exclusively used by EVs so that we have ticketing capacity. It takes care of the intersection changes that need to happen for the NICOM, to implement the NICOM recommendations at Lunn and Market, 2 new stop signs. There's text cleanup, like, for example, a place that, in one of the charts that was blank, filling that in. It also codifies the no parking on Northern from 9D to Church Street on both sides, and codifies Fair Street on both sides to Northern, and on the west side across from Mayor's Park to the end of the village boundary. Michelle, additionally, in her read, found areas where we could make consistent the regulation of winter parking, which is a good thing, so that the 2 references are consistent, and that our process for legal notice is consistent. I will tell you, Erin, you have talked before about chapters being repetitive, and this is a chapter that I would love to have time to restructure. It's so repetitive and so difficult to move back and forth through, but it's not something that's gonna take a lot of time. So much as I would love to start fresh, it's where we are. So discussion on any of those topics first, setting winter parking aside. Any concerns about any of the changes? Yep. And then looking at the legal notice for winter parking. Currently, it's referenced in 2 places in the village, in chapter 126, 127:15 and 127. I'm sorry, 126:15 and 126:41. It codifies in 126:41, item D, it codifies the period and of November 15th to April 15th. I did review that with the DPW commissioner from the county to make sure that that date is a date that we confirm, and I confirmed it in our code, that we can modify, that it's not statewide. The recommendation and request from the OIC and the highway superintendent, roadways and facilities crew chief, is that we leave the dates as they are right now. The dates are working, but that we modify the times so that they can start plowing earlier. They're requesting 9 PM to 7 AM. In the code, it has been 12:01 AM to 7 AM, which means cars could be left on the street until then, and we would plow around them and then plow people in and have to dig themselves out to move themselves after the plows had gone through. So pairing the text change in 126:41, my recommendation is that we take out, as we have done in other chapters with, for example, the fee schedule. We don't set the fee in the code, we reference a resolution that sets the fee. That would be my recommendation here, that the hours and days of operation. See, that's related to the municipal lot. Yes, but this is the only place it was specific. Under metered parking, was with the place where November 15th from 9 PM to 8 AM was listed. So I would recommend changing it to the metered parking in the municipal lots shall be in effect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except during the period of seasonal parking regulations established by resolution by the Board of Trustees, and when a weather emergency has been declared. And the other location is 15. Under 15 says hours and dates to be set by the village board by regulation, and it should be right. Discussion, concerns? I think Bugsy's request is reasonable. Still gives people time to get home off the train and move a car.
It seems reasonable. And I'd be curious to know what other places do, but I trust Bugsy has a sense of what those situations are like, so if he says 9, I mean, and we can also, this gives us the flexibility to, if 9 is too early or too late.
I mean, if there's a snow emergency
can-
that hits earlier and
Yeah.
he needs to be clearing the streets before
Then
9,
then
the
we'll
police
be-
department
yeah.
has the capacity under state code to make a declaration.
Right.
What Bugsy is trying to get to is in a normal snow event where he knows he has to plow.
Right.
Being able to plow 3 hours earlier makes a difference.
Yeah.
For them in terms of their night. The notice is a resolution. We're not actually voting on that tonight because, as Michelle pointed out, it was referenced differently in 2 different parts of the code. If we move forward with modifying the language to say resolution, we should hold this until after we have a public hearing on chapter 126. Does everyone feel that chapter 126 is ready for public hearing?
I mean, given the amendments that we need to make and the fact that we are not gonna. That. It's a working, living document, so. I think we make amendments now and then we come back and we continue to make them if needed.
It also allowed getting these things done now allows Bugsy to upgrade that intersection during this season.
That's fair.
Okay, so we have a resolution relating to that and 108 together, so let's talk about 108 next. 108 is streets and sidewalks. This is also one that's been on our back burner for a long time after changes having been requested. The modifications are to Article 2, Section 10820 regarding encroachments. The request has been to identify objects. So we do periodically have people blocking streets of their own accord. And currently there's no, other than garbage dumping in the street, there's no restriction on doing that. So it brings in that and objects being placed either temporary or permanently on the sidewalk passage. And the third item is, which we talked about ages ago, before Aaron even arrived, was electric vehicle chargers and requiring covers over the electrical vehicle chargers when they're on the sidewalk while they're in use. So that is those changes.
The only thing I noted was that, especially because of the position of those 2 changes,
Mhm.
it could be read that you need permission from the officer in charge to put electrical vehicle charger, even if you have the right figure. Because it's not clear whether that's obstruction or not.
Wait, say that again? It's not clear if you use tape.
Well, if you use the covering,
Like
the
a-
approved covering that we're trying to get them to use, is the intention that they also need permission from the OIC?
No.
So it's just, it wasn't clear to me.
So can you
from the
give me language that you
language.
think makes it better? Because I don't read that. Here's my one.
Yeah,
Here's your red pen.
um. I would just reverse the order of the 2 and say notwithstanding. Previous, or have like other objects or materials, it just could be that one word. And just have B and C reversed.
Well, this paragraph is about streets and this paragraph is about sidewalks.
Suggestion? So it's about
But I just don't know what other.
encroachments, right? Don't encroach on the boundaries of any street and or sidewalk in the village, right? So it does mention that.
No, you're right, you're right.
So it's just,
So, okay, I get where you're going. So this paragraph, the original paragraph was regarding people building a permanent object encroaching on the village street. Like you put an addition on your house and it rolls over onto the street. The next paragraph, now it makes sense to me what you're saying. The next one, you're basically saying is anything else that's not an object, not a structure.
that's right.
Yeah,
But
okay.
my concern more is the third paragraph, which is about the EV charger
Okay.
and the cables. Right? I mean, that's an obstruction. That's something on the sidewalk. And so by the previous paragraph, it would imply somebody would need permission from the OIC to put that electric car charging cable, but that's not our intention.
Yeah, I see what you're
As
saying.
long as they cover it fine, that's okay. They don't need permission.
So what if we just added an
Just,
explicit statement here in C that says no permit required? I don't think we want to be in the
Also
business of issuing permits, that we just want to make sure people don't, that there aren't trip hazards.
right.
So did you guys follow that exchange? I was a little thick-headed about it.
I followed that. But Aaron, did you also say about that there should be an approved covering for the
The language
an
that's
approved
there,
cable
I
cover?
thought- the language that's in the paragraph, I think is fine.
Okay.
I think it's pretty clear.
Maybe you could reference the section to help people.
Oh, in discussion, sorry,
Yeah.
108, I've been looking at the, I didn't even think about it, it's 108, it's 108-20, I'm so sorry. Street and or sidewalk encroachments. A, B, and C. All right, right, I recognize that that's the change you're looking for. Let me play with it.
Sure.
And circulate it. And then that will
As
be
amended.
what goes up as amended. Yeah. Okay, so we do need to make a motion. Otherwise, we are otherwise ready for public hearing once this is modified, right? Thank you.
That's the date we're thinking.
So the next day, in order for us to make notifications and land on a day where we would regularly meet, I was thinking October 8th. We print, in that case, we would print notice on the 1st, be up for a week. Print in the paper, I mean.
Traveling, but I can zoom in.
Okay, that's our monthly meeting week anyway. Okay. So,
We changed the resolution and moved to 39. Because we're doing them out of order.
okay, so can you say that again, Clark? A little bit louder?
This would be resolution 39-2025. Setting a date and time for a public hearing on proposed local laws, revising chapters 108 and 126 of the village code.
Okay, someone like to read that? Thank you, Erin, for walking through that.
I'm happy to read it.
Yeah, she's saying.
Oh,
we
she
need
said
to
this
change
is
the number.
39, sorry. That was stupid. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, resolution 39-2025, setting a date and time for a public hearing on proposed local laws revising chapters 108 and 126 of the village code. The following resolution was offered by trustee Frymark for adoption and seconded by
Second.
trustee Woods to wit. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Cold Spring seeks to update the village code by revising chapter 108, streets and sidewalks, and chapter 126, vehicles and traffic, and to set a time and place for public hearing to consider such actions. Now therefore it is hereby resolved that the village board hereby determines that this action is classified and unlisted, and that it will be the lead agency with respect to the review of the proposed local laws, the project, in accordance with the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, and Part 617 of the regulations implementing SEQRA, since there are no other agencies that have the authority to approve the project. And let it be further resolved that a public hearing be held by the village board in order to receive comments and suggestions regarding the proposed amendments to the above listed chapter and to receive any comments concerning the potential adverse impacts of said local law on Wednesday, October 8th at 7 p.m. at Village Hall, 85 Main Street, Cold Spring, New York. And let it be further resolved that the deputy clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause said public notice of said hearing to be given as provided by law. The
Oh,
clerk.
clerk, yes, sorry.
The clerk.
And
Congratulations.
it's a roll call vote.
Trustee Primark,
Aye.
trustee Hall,
Aye.
trustee Laura Bosey is absent. Trustee Tweeps Phillips Woods,
Aye.
Mayor Foley,
Aye.
the ayes have it.
Thank you. Okay. And again, we are tabling the legal notice.
Do you want to, did we set the date for October?
Eight. You said eight when we were reading it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Finding. So first of all, I want to say thank you very much to Hudson Highlands Pure Trail. They have followed up on particular requests related to wayfinding and signage. They have adjusted the copy on the breakneck.info website with information on alternative hikes to make clearer which hikes are not accessible by continuous sidewalks. They have changed the hiker cards and posters that said walkable and replaced with more generic cards. They did say that they believe they've collected all of them. If you find any that reference walkable, just please collect them and let them know. Or let them know to collect them. And they have given us a draft of new signage to put at the train station. And they're also working with Haldane to fabricate, working with Haldane directly to fabricate entrance signage for them. So we have before us tonight, there is currently in place, when you get off the train and when you're going south, when you turn the loop after the little tunnel building, there are currently signs. They have added under alternative hikes to try, they've added asterisks, and added, please be advised, there are not continuous sidewalks leading to this hike. Discussion. Any discussion?
How will this show up? I know, this is a card?
This is only, they have revised their cards.
Okay.
And the card, I believe, I've not seen the new card, but I believe it's just the right side of this page.
Okay.
And then they have posters that have what's on the left side of the page. These are, when you're getting off the train coming from the city, one of these is connected to a pole right before you turn the corner to come past the tunnel building. The other is on the southbound side when you come out of the tunnel and make the bend to get on the southbound tracks. The other one is hanging there. So they're wanting to replace the two that currently say walkable with this that says, please be advised, there are not continuous sidewalks. I'm fine with that modification. The only thing that gives me pause is the Route 9D corridor is being made safer for hikers and motorists. It implies that it's safer now. One thought is, I mean, these are their signs. They're going to make the sign. We're making a comment. They're going to make the changes they want to make. But my thought was something like the Route 9D corridor is currently dangerous for pedestrians and not recommended for walking. Maybe it's overkill. I don't know. Thoughts from others?
I think what they're saying is accurate.
It is being made safer over time, but it's not safer right now. I was looking for something to go ahead of it. They're right, it is being made safer, but it's not safe now. Do you have any thoughts, Andrew?
I had a similar kind of feeling when I read it because it does imply that it is safe, and the reason that it's being worked on is because it is not safe at this particular point in time. Hence the improvements further north. So I don't know what the wording is, but I have a similar reservation.
Well, we don't need to come up with the language if there is consensus, which I know we don't have right now, but if there were consensus that some other language needed to be added, that would be up to them to wordsmith. Tweeps?
I feel like, you know, I hear your point. I also think that there's a lot of stuff on this.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if someone's gonna walk, they're gonna walk. We don't have any control over that. It is true that they are making it safer, to Aaron's point.
Mhm.
They're making it safer. Ultimately, there's so much information on here, you know, I think this is kind of like irrelevant. It's like, you know, we're making ice cream better. Like, okay, good. Like, I'm taking a hike. I'm deciding to do this anyway. So, you know, I know that's not exactly an answer, but I just feel like the main point was to get the information out that there's the access isn't like to take away that aspect that like, oh, it's safe to walk. And we're saying actively that's not, they made that change. That's what we wanted. This to me is, it's not inaccurate. They are making it safer.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. That was just the one thought that I had.
I just would
And I think also to acknowledge that they've made a fair and reasonable response, and that we actually, I welcome
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
I welcome the dialogue and a resolution.
right. And we want the signage out. Like people are going now. These are the weeks that they're going. So let's just.
All right, so it sounds like where we're landing is we are good with, please be advised. And thank you very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope the signs are big and nice and
They-
beautiful.
they're big. They're big. To your point, they're crowded. And speaking of signs, we have a presentation from Alex Cheek tonight, who is one of the designers, one of the graphics artists who came up with our seal and our visual identity, and has been thinking a lot about wayfinding as a volunteer at the visitor center. You were thinking about, sounds like you were thinking about some temporary solutions with the chamber and then kind of went all in on a plan.
Bigger solution, yeah. So I volunteered at the information booth for a number of years, as you know. The most common, if you said there are 14 volunteers actively this year. If you ask any of them, we've all come back to you with the same common questions. Where is the train? How do I get to the river? Where is Main Street? Where are the Highlands Trail? The Main Street's right behind it, by the way. Where are the trails? Where are the bathrooms? Like this is like probably 90% of the questions we get, the same questions over and over again. So lots of needs to just like manage the crowds and keep the flow of crowds going to where they need to go. And by the way, the booth is only open for 12 hours total on a weekend. So that only captures a small portion of tourists. 3 weeks ago, I got an email from Matt Prentice, CC, the person who manages the trolleys, with an idea that we actually been floating for a while to do sandwich boards just to temporarily help out with some of the key issues. Where is the trolley stop? Where are the bathrooms? And third, how do I get to the trains? I mocked it up. They're fine. Everybody kind of agreed they're fine. They're plastic, they're low to the ground, people could trip on them. I don't think it's a proper and full solution. So that kind of prompted me to go back to this bigger conversation that we've actually been having for a while of like, could we actually think about a bigger and more comprehensive solution to this? And that's what wayfinding is all about. It's not about signage. It's about thinking about the full system of what's needed in the village. This document, which you all have a link to, I would encourage you to review it offline. I'm not going to go through every single detail in here because there's a lot. But the first thing that I'll say is, you know, the idea of the sandwich boards is a one-off sign, and that might help. But when you kind of step back, there isn't really a complete system for signs in the village, or if it is, it's kind of been cobbled together over many years. And you can actually just tell by looking at the signs. Sometimes the signs even have the years printed on them, but they've happened over decades. So let's take a look here. This is how I was thinking about it. I wanted these solutions to be highly readable. I want plain language in here. I don't want it to be cluttered. I want it to be consistent across the whole system, but also conform to international standards, which you'll see in some of the designs. Progressive disclosure is a great principle to provide simple information when you're far away from something and you add detail as you get closer to it, which you'll see. Long-term durability, I didn't want to get too specific on this so that we don't have to be changing these signs over the years. But at the same, there's like a balance to be found. I didn't want it to be noisy. I don't want it to be screaming at you. I'll show you some examples from other towns that are like very highly branded and I think sometimes kind of tacky. And I wanted to kind of blend in a bit with the village. And it's not just about the visitors. I want this to serve everybody. One of the common questions I get from people is like, how do I get down to Lower Main Street with a stroller or wheelchair? And there are actually solutions, but like we volunteers have to be there to provide those solutions, and we're not always there. And that can work for everyone. Goals here, manage the villagers, create flow and movement. There are some very big errors on the ones at Metro North, literally pointing people in the wrong direction. It's crazy. Pedestrian safety is an issue. I try to address that with like stroller, elevator access, one terrace, use the bridge. I want to be consistent with the visual voice, and I want to enhance the visual voice of the village. And I'd like to be able to find a way to produce these at high quality, but also be cost effective. So not necessarily just metal signs, metal reflective signs, it's something that's maybe a little bit nicer looking.
And Alex,
Yeah.
can we pause for a second? What you're bringing to us tonight is a concept.
Mhm.
We have no numbers on this at this point. What Alex is looking for tonight and what I hope we can come to tonight is feedback on the concept, and does this feel like something we want to proceed with before we invest more time?
Yeah. Provide feedback. You don't need to get into the details. I would encourage you to just ping me separately, or I don't know what the right channel for that would be, but it's going to require you just like really looking through this and thinking about it from your own vantage point. Like think about, put yourself in at a certain corner and think about how that sign works. Provide feedback that way if you want to get into the details, but there's way too much here to look at to get into those details now. What you'll see are concepts that include different typographic approaches. I have very strong opinions on this. The ones that are mocked up in the pages that follow are with that first one on the left. It is one of the most common signage typefaces in the world. It's at every airport. It's perhaps one of the best typefaces out there, especially for signage, called Frutiger. On the top, you see that I'm using the village branding to bring that in. It's called Golden Book. There are color options. Think about the color options. My opinions are less strong on this, but we can get into that. The mocks that you'll see are in a dark blue, but we can also explore other things too.
One thing I noticed this weekend is that Parks has just put up new signs at Stony Point that are a very deep green.
Okay.
And I think my thought is, we don't want to look like we're the park, we want to look like we're the village.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I also spent a lot of time with a tape measure out there to figure out what sizes we would be needing. So when we do start to go explore how much this would actually cost, we have an idea of that. And I basically streamlined it to one extra large sign, bunch of large signs, lots of medium signs, a number of small signs, and then I treated parking signage as kind of a separate thing and trying to just fit that to normal road standards. Most of these are for pedestrians, so they're typeset a certain way, whereas the parking signs would be for driving, so that's typeset differently.
And to be clear, by parking, you mean directing people to public lots,
Yeah.
as opposed to this is how you pay for parking.
Correct. I'm not touching that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just zip through some of these locations, but I mean, leaving the train, all the signs leaving the train, welcome to Cold Spring, get people to where they need to go. Progressive disclosure shows up here because I'm saying Highlands Trails. That's it. I'm keeping it simple. We will get to the details about that later. When you're on the river side of the tracks, we're just moving people down that path. And then I'm adding a little bit of language in there to say, take the stairs under the tracks to the other side. Elevator access is from the train platform. West Point Foundry Preserve, turn around. Take the stairs or elevator to the other side. Trail begins at the far end of the platform. Keep them moving down the path, gets them to Lower Main Street. Instructions on how to get to Main Street and restrooms. That's a common question if you're down on that side of the tracks. If you're on the village side, lots of detail here. Getting people to Main Street, getting people to the Foundry Preserve, which is a very common question. Not knowing where that starts. Again, moving people down. All of these are just replacing existing signs. Obviously, Metro North would have to be looped into that conversation.
Pause for a second.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's the sign that we were talking about tonight, Tweeps.
Yes, I see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There are proposals in here for new placements too. There are also just as many proposals in here for removals. So we're not just adding more here. We're trying to just be a little bit more thoughtful and strategic about it. This one could be potentially just mounted to the brick structure there. And again, it's like getting people down the stairs, which is really not very well understood. Getting people to the restrooms. Something mounted beside the stairs to know exactly where you're going and why and what's there. Path to elevator, nobody really knows the elevator exists or that it's an option. I'm bringing in some international symbolism for like the wheelchair and the stroller icon in here. I could potentially bring in symbols for everything, but I didn't want to go overboard with that. Just
What
wanted to
would be
be
another one?
like a little shopping bag for Main Street.
Yeah.
I could come up with a symbol for all of these if we wanted to. Riverfront could get a little sailboat.
Gotcha.
Same thing on the other side. The path to the trains there is not very well understood. This could be potentially a new installation, like a larger 24-inch wide sign. The other ones were 18. This is next to Raccoon Saloon. So this could be positioned in the grass area, getting people up to Main Street, or I guess we can't call it Raccoon Saloon. Getting renovated.
Better than Tyvek House.
Better than fire, yeah. Potentially a new installation here, getting people to the trails again. Very common. What am I always saying to people at the info booth? Go to Fair Street, turn left all the time. Here's another one. Just like, we don't need this one, but it's like, just keep them moving. You're going in the right direction. Keep going.
What are we looking at?
This is at the corner of Northern. So it's just like, keep people moving down
yeah.
Fair Street. You'll see in many of these, I'm bringing in distances and time estimates for walking. So it's saying half a mile and 11 minutes to park entrance. This is more progressive disclosure because now that we're actually getting closer, I'm giving detailed information about the trails. We have proposals for Lower Main Street where Lund and Market meet. A lot of people end up over on that side of the tracks. I'd love to correct that, but people will be over there. So we want to show that they can go across the bridge there to get to Main Street. This is a very important one, I think, and that is highlighting where the path is to get down to the train. Nobody sees it at all. Path to trains, elevator, track 1, track 2. Again, just kind of keeping people moving down the path.
And imagining, if Metro North were to agree, imagining a clearing of all of the other clutter sign.
Yeah, ideally. Here, like we've got a post, we got a post, let's use it. Let's put a double-sided sign up there, let's use it. Keep people moving. This was kind of a sign that appeared out of nowhere. I'm not really sure who did this or when but I figured we might as well just standardize it and make it part of the system. So getting people to make that U-turn to go down the path to track 2. Same thing here, just keep people moving down that path. If you're going back to the train on the other side, keep moving down the path. Here's a proposal up at Kemble. to help people go down to Foundry Preserve. Maybe less critical on this one. But again, think about this as a full system. It's, we can look at priorities here, but I think doing this piecemeal might not actually solve the full issue.
And of note, that sign that you were just on, if you could go
Yeah.
back for a second. It's a Metro North,
Oh, this one,
yeah, it's a Metro North sign that's branded Metro North, but references Village of Cold Spring. I think it's really worth having they've done it before.
Yeah.
Right, so having that conversation to say, how do we take your branding and our branding and work together?
very-
I have no idea what the permitting process looks like for Metro North, but we do have a government, Andy Buter is the government relations representative, and we can ask him.
Yeah, I mean, if it's as simple as just co-branding, like the way they do it up above, that's very, very easy to do.
I had no idea
Yeah.
what year those signs were put in, so who knows what's changed since then.
Yeah. The logo has not changed, so I could do that. This would be net new. Actually, notice they did not have any signs on the other side on the on track 2. Don't know why. So helping people get to Lower Main Street and know what to do about getting to Upper Main Street. This one is unique because it's so big. I think this would be optimized for cars, and this would be when you're turning when you're coming to Market Street. And I was just thinking, let's go big on this. It's the only 36-inch wide sign. It would be optimized for cars, but it would also work for pedestrians. Trains, free parking to the left, Foundry Dock Park to the left, Chapel Restoration to the left, Lower Main Riverfront Dockside Park to the right. Remove all the other signs, and conform to the branding.
And when we discussed the NIMTIC recommendations for this intersection, a big sign in this location was part of that recommendation as well.
And a traffic circle.
Yes, that we did not proceed with, but
I threw these in just because I was like, well, they don't, it's a tough one. And I know you all were a part of this too. The parking signs as they are now, there's a lot of text on them. It's not that they don't work, but they could work better. Some of them, I mean, they have their left facing arrow, which is a little bit weird in my opinion, especially when you're way up on Main Street. So I changed it to say, go straight, free weekend parking, left at Lawn Terrace, that's it. Same thing here, where it's having you go left on Rock Street, which is not right. So keep moving, go left at Lawn Terrace, and then when you get down here, now go left. And I'll get to the removals in a second, but there's another one across the street from here that I actually suggested just pulling it all together because it's behind a tree. So we'll look at that in a minute.
and not for nothing, people look for blue as an
Totally.
international parking color, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So might as well just conform to that. These look different because they came in at a different time. So I just figured let's standardize it. I don't even know if we really need this one because it's across the street, but we could do that. Here it's at the corner of Fair, so just getting people to turn right. And which one is this? This is also on Fair Street at the corner of Northern. So just keeping people moving. And this would be at the lot itself. There's actually no sign that really says that this is the lot. I mean, it's sort of clear what it is, obviously, but might as well just kind of complete the thought.
Yeah. That's been on our list for so long.
I threw this one in for funsies and, just clean it up. We could get rid of 2 and put 1 nice one up. Laura happened to mention that a lot of people kind of walk by there looking for river access. So maybe we should just call that out to say no river access.
This will make both highway and the police department really happy. And we could use something like that at wastewater too, on the fence at
Oh, yeah.
wastewater.
Okay.
Because sometimes that fence, it's rare the fence is left open, but when it is open, we don't want people wandering back there.
Yeah. So that's another item of homework of like, what did I miss? Like I was just chatting with the officer out here and his first idea was one that I didn't even think of. So there are plenty more opportunities, I'm sure. Removals, this is the one that's behind the tree, well-intentioned, but I'm sorry, but nobody's gonna see that. Like really, I don't know, it's just big. If you are going to West Point Foundry Preserve, you probably know where you're going already. You probably have it in your GPS. Like, I don't know if this is that useful.
What sign is that?
it was put up by, the History Museum, probably, I'm gonna say, I don't know, 2012, 13.
It's another thing to think about, is just
I think
like,
it was the History Museum. Mike, don't quote me on that. I think that's who put it up.
it's another thing to think about here, is like the level of noise on the street, like
Mhm.
it's more, we're being more strategic by reducing some of the noise and being systematized about what we do put in. These would be made redundant if we did the big sign, as nice as they are. This would be made redundant with a big sign. These are actually kind of confusing. And again, it's just like more clutter. It says no parking and then it says 4-hour parking right next to it. When I actually went to investigate more, I was like, okay, I actually do understand what it's doing, but like, again, how is this really necessary? We also talked about a map panel. This is a bigger project. This would likely cost a bit more money, but this would be a big one. I think this would be really, really cool. I can take the map that I've been managing for a few years and reconfigure it in a way so that it doesn't have to be remade every year. We can make this map panel from the existing map system that we have. We can install a panel down here at, on Main Street. We can install a panel here at Village Hall. I can what I did here is I kind of split the difference between like a really tight zoom in on the village and the full trail map. And I'm just basically saying, we can get you from here on Main Street up to the beginning of the trails. We're not going to give you more information on the panel than that, but we're just going to get you to where you need to go, and the signs will help you the rest of the way. So you see the example of the panel down here in the lower left. You see them in tourist destinations, you see them in national parks. They're quite nice. I have absolutely no idea what these things cost, but we can look into it.
You know, they were put in not long ago at Dockside.
Mm.
Smaller scale slightly, but we know the landscape architect who worked on the signage, so it's something we can ask. I love this idea.
Yeah.
We get people knocking on the door all day, asking directions, and having something right in front of Village Hall would be amazing.
Yeah.
But
And
also the other location by the bathrooms is like
Yeah.
a natural.
Just got off the train.
Yeah.
And every tree we've planted in that location has died.
I threw in some more funsies things here, like welcome to Cold Spring. Like, look at all that clutter. I mean, I know those signs are important, but like everybody knows to call 911 when there's an emergency.
Some of those things don't even exist anymore. Some of the things that are signed, it's worth doing an inventory of what's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, those signs are crazy. It
Yeah.
is a lot.
Yeah.
I just would love to see the logo somewhere, the seal,
Yeah.
even maybe on the welcome.
We can do that, yeah. The trouble, I'll show you the seal example in a second. The trouble with seals, it's detailed. So it's either got to be big on the sign. I think going small is kind of gets lost. Here's an example with it up in the upper left. I mean, it's kind of even getting lost on the screen here.
Could you do just like a really big, just seal? At that, not this one.
Oh, at the entrance?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you go
Yeah.
before.
I did this in like 2 seconds. I can do some more passes.
You just did
Just did that seal.
like, really,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. The original idea with the seal was that there would be a word mark, this lock up here at Village of Cold Spring in the bottom, and that the seal would be used to kind of elevate more official communications or things, like it's why it's on the letterhead. It works on the letterhead. It's detailed, makes sense, right? It is a little bit trickier to get to work in these situations. I mean, I'll keep playing with it, but I'm just sort of like giving you that warning.
I love
Like, just
that
like
idea.
this though? Like you couldn't just
giant.
do just the giant that?
There's the difference.
Not, I
between,
mean,
like,
giant,
us
but, you know.
sitting here and like somebody driving, you know?
Like
So,
how much you catch of it, you mean
Yeah.
when you're driving? Okay,
I'll
fair enough.
play, but
I see, because there's a lot of detail, yeah, I understand. what you mean.
And I agree. I mean, it's like, I hear what you're saying. The seal becomes like an official village government.
think about
It's
universities.
not a logo for the village.
Yeah.
Right.
Think about universities, like seals on the diploma. It's not necessarily,
That's a good point.
yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I could look at other, there's so many things we could do. If you want to like highlight Mayor's Park or the other key locations, we could do signage for that. I would say it's definitely a lower priority, but it's there. These are the sandwich boards we talked about. It was the goal of this project was basically like, how do we specifically get people right here to get on the trolley. So that's what we came up with. And then here was another one for the information booth and restrooms. And yeah, as far as materials go, you know, I said that I'm not too keen on just doing cheap metal signs. Like, it would be nice to have this feel good. That's kind of why I'm looking at that Village North one in the lower left. I don't know where that's in Whistler. It's probably out of some sort of composites, probably a little bit thicker. I like that it's squared off. I don't like that these are so branded. You know, I don't like tourist towns where they've got this signage screaming, but I do actually kind of like some of the production quality of it. Here's some others. Yeah. Is that it? That's it.
I'm gonna hold what.
It's a huge amount of effort. I really
Yeah.
appreciate all of that. You have this vision for
I got a vision.
our village. Thank you for dispensing it slowly.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's like, it's really thoughtful work, and I think it would make a ginormous difference, particularly, I mean, yes, on the wayfinding point, but I've just been noticing just the noise on the street with the signages, and even like, I mean, this is not related but unrelated, but like, you know, all the signage that people, the temporary things that people put out, like sale here, chapel choir performance here, but whatever, like all that stuff, it just becomes like, just, it's so much, it looks messy, and you know, and I think this is just really perfection.
Yeah, thanks.
For me, this is something I've wanted to, like, we've talked about it so many times, and I feel like Alex took everything that has been in our heads and conversations and made it real. And I do think that wayfinding, there are all sorts of reasons that wayfinding would work. We're gonna have to figure out, we're gonna have to figure out numbers. I love the idea of, you know, sort of a hefty sign that feels a little bit grand. I mean, grand on a village scale, right? Restrained, but grand. We have to figure out what that looks like dollar wise, and maybe there's the potential for. I mean, I think we need something sooner rather than later, so I think we have to be careful pricing it in a way that we can either afford or quickly get grant money for.
Yeah.
Because the sooner we have the signage, the better. Andrew, you look like you were wanting to hop in.
No, I agree with you all. Alex, it looks like a huge amount of work you've done, and a lot of great ideas. I agree with you all about the noise, because I get quite annoyed by the amount of signages there is everywhere, and how much it detracts from the rest of the environment. When you mentioned the West Point Foundry sign, and that it seemed like are there quite a few signs that are just kind of appear indiscriminately, and is there any kind of clearinghouse for signage within the village? I mean, I know we're sort of trying to collect it here, but is there a way that it can be not standardized but formalized, that there's some sort of as they say, clearinghouse for signage, and that people can't just, well, not people, but businesses or entities can't just simply put a sign up that's not part of an overall design or branding strategy.
Some of those signs came through a board process or an HDRB process ages and ages and ages ago.
Yeah.
But the village wasn't thinking comprehensively at that time about wayfinding, and those entities weren't necessarily thinking about a system of wayfinding. So they made sense for the entity, and the village agreed to put them up, but it just became noise. And I don't think you know, I don't know that we have a sign chapter, but we haven't necessarily had a vision or a direction within which to ask people to work. There was for a time a design for a sign that had a map on it. I don't remember why that one died. It was like Putnam County. It was for the History Museum.
Okay.
But yeah, getting a unified approach is definitely
If
better.
you don't have a system and you don't have a strategy or brand,
That
brand
means
strategy,
random.
then it ends up like this, yeah.
So do folks feel like Alex's concept, I mean, obviously, we're not approving it, but do we feel like this is something that we want to proceed with? Looking at probably prioritizing locations and looking at money and thinking about it?
I would say I can do a revision on this doc with a few additions. I would say if you all have feedback, specific feedback on the stuff or additions or whatever you want captured in this doc, figure out a way to collect that feedback and give it back to me. I will incorporate that. And then I think it's starting to float this with like just figuring out ballpark numbers. And again, I don't really know what that looks like. But I think it would be great to capture your feedback first before we go out with trying to identify what this even costs.
It'd be good to work with Michelle on either piggybacking. We have the capacity to piggyback other municipalities' bids or finding providers on state contract.
Yeah, definitely.
She'll have a lot more knowledge and access on that side of things.
Yeah.
And it may be, also worth like, where did NIAC get its signs made? Yeah.
That would be helpful because like just Google searching it, I'm ending up with like sign manufacturers in like the UK and I'm like, this is not helpful. So like,
I know that for us in the past, the cost of signs, like for parking, has limited how much we are able to do. So, but definitely looking forward to seeing some ideas about that. And the other thing I just had in mind is just this feedback for you, Alex. They're all beautiful. As the mayor pointed out, this is all going to outlive us. And so we need to make sure that whatever we create can be continued and repeated and grown
yeah,
after all of us aren't part of the village anymore. So there's having signs tend towards simplicity, I think sometimes because of that. I really like your design. I just worry about what it's going to become in somebody else's hands.
yeah. You can never control that, but we could put in a playbook for future sign management, and that could involve a third party like Grays or somebody who like has the ability to participate somehow. I don't know what that looks like, but like these files could be handed off some way to allow that to continue.
Well, and taking the lookbook that you developed for our letterheads, et cetera, and our signage, and sort of adopting a policy around use. Like when I worked for Cornell, there were only so many that you had to have use particular colors, particular options for the seal, et cetera. We could develop a policy like that.
Totally.
It doesn't mean that another board couldn't change their minds and do something else later, but at least there's a forward looking and purposeful policy.
Yeah.
Which is probably something that Marjorie would be familiar, given your background, would be right up your alley to think about.
Good looking presentation.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
More soon.
Sure.
And thank you for sitting through the whole
Yeah,
meeting.
of course.
We have 2 items left. One is bills. Yes, thank you very much indeed. Who's got that? And this batch is large because it's the second payment to Northbrook for Fair Street.
I make a motion to approve bills batch 8069 in the amount of $294,030.19.
It's not just Northbrook, but that's what makes the number so large. Next, we have 4 sets of minutes. We are voting to accept the clerk's minutes after guidance from NICOM.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as approved by the clerk. Is that enough, or do I have to do the date too? 6/26/24, 3/12/25, 4/9/25, 7/9/25.
Second.
We didn't ask for discussion. Is there any discussion? Great, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye,
Aye.
yes. Okay, that's it, unless somebody else has anything. Michael, you're the only member of the public left. I would second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
At 8:40.
8:40. You know this?
We had an option to be flying. I think everybody.
Didn't expect it to be that. Well, we did. I didn't have my iPad this time. Thank you.
Is it raining now, I wonder?
I don't know.
Can you see? All right,
I don't
have a
know.
good night.